So that's water. We don't want too much of it in our system because when it gets cold, it's gonna freeze and break everything. So the water is, these are usually your low points of where the water is. So on your main line here, you have water that accumulates in this drip drum. So every week in the winter and every month in the summer, you close this top valve, open that bottom valve. Water is supposed to accumulate in there. When you open that water valve on the bottom, the water will come out. You do it 3 or 4 times to make sure we get all the water.
Can I ask you a question?
That is a PM that we should be doing every week. We're going to start utilizing that here. Joel and me have been doing it, and Elias has been doing it over this winter. But it's a simple thing that we can do to prevent our system from breaking.
So what keeps the water from freezing? Is it something to keep the water warm? Because
No.
if it's outside, there's no way.
Well, that's why you have air in your system. This is all air going to everything. Your
But that's
closet,
cold air, right?
Yeah, your
Yeah.
closet has a heater in it to keep
Okay.
the water
There
from
we go.
freezing.
That's what I wanted
Yeah,
to know.
there's a
Okay.
heater in each closet.
Okay, that's what I
So,
was asking.
yeah, so, but anything past this is supposed to be air. If
Yeah.
there's water in the system, that's when everything starts breaking. And I don't know who it is, we've had so many contractors fixing these things, but all the broken parts are inside of the closets, so we can take a look at them and see what happens. So, but
Now, I
that's your,
completely understand what
yeah.
you're saying now.
that's your basic thing. We have a compressor that's on each level that keeps a constant 50 pounds on that to prevent that flapper from going up. So, and then you have about probably 40, 45 pounds of water there. If that flapper goes bad, the water rushes in and you're done. So,
It'll put water through all the sprinklers? If it breaks?
wherever the opening is. So, you see in the movies where they take a lighter up to a sprinkler head and then all the sprinklers go off, that's fake.
Right.
The only one that's gonna go off is the one that you hit or the one that you make
Yeah,
go.
Right,
None of the other stuff will go off.
okay.
So, it's what, wherever it's hit or wherever, we've had this multiple times, wherever the pipe freezes and then it blows out and then the water rushes out. So, like I said, the quickest way, if you see water flowing, each level has an east and a west. The quickest way is just close these valves. That's really the only isolation that we have is this main valve. There is no other valves anywhere that we can shut off, unlike the building system.
Gotcha.
So,
Where's that compressor at, Steve?
compressor is right on the pipe.
Okay.
Right in between the valves. So, the other thing that we'll get, like in the fire alarm, is if the compressor's not running normally, you'll get a alarm at the fire panel that says low air. That tells you that the compressor's not running, or the sprinkler line let go and the compressor can't keep up. So once it gets below, I think 20 pounds of pressure, the alarm goes off. That way, we can be proactive. If we see a low air, we can run out there, isolate the valves before the water flapper goes. Because once you get low pressure, that flapper valve is gonna open up. So, you'll also have a water flow on the fire alarm panel. When you have a water flow, it is a full building alarm. So the red light on the fire system will come on, because that tells you that either there's a fire or somebody hit something and the water's flowing. So you'll get an alarm throughout the whole building when that happens.
Does the fire department get that same alarm or not?
I don't know how the fire department works in Cleveland anymore, but I think because we have 24/7 security, we are not required to have it automatically go to the fire department. We've had fire alarms over the last week, and I haven't seen the fire department show up.
Is there color alerts on the on the panel letting you know that what was the problem?
It'll tell you low air or water flow. Those are the only 2 alarms that it will tell you. It will also tell you tamper. Everybody know what a tamper is? Tamper alarm? If somebody goes and turns this valve, it goes to the fire alarm panel. And it tells the, I can't say security here, but it tells you that somebody is actually closing a valve.
Okay.
So if you guys aren't working on the system and somebody's playing with the valve, they're tampering with it, that's what the alarm will come. It'll be a tamper alarm, that somebody's closing that valve. So if you see that on the fire alarm panel, it'll tell you exactly where it is. And then you go upstairs and you shoot that person that's tampering with it, and then you don't have to worry about it. The next person will think about it twice before he does that. You know, yeah, he was tampering. No, anyways, but yeah, those are the 3 alarms that you will get. So if you are going to close a valve, the only thing you need to do for closing the valve is let security know that you're closing the valve. For instance, when we do our fire pump testing, we have 2 valves that we will close. Those will go upstairs and they'll say, hey, that's a tamper. It comes across as a trouble alarm, not a fire alarm. So if you're gonna do that, let security know that you're gonna run the fire pump. Running the fire pump is an alarm, so before we do that, now we have to call the fire alarm company, the monitoring company, let them know we're doing a test on it, so that they don't call the fire department, so. But the sprinkler system in the garage does not have a fire pump attached to it. So it's just city water because you're only going up, I think 4 floors, 5 floors, 4 floors. So there's enough pressure from the city that you don't have to pump it up, so.
Right there. That's it. Real quick, how much, you know how much pressure you need?
You always need 40 PSI. But if you do have, you're gonna have for the city always 40 PSI. But sometimes if they have what we call a backflow preventer, now backflow preventer is gonna reduce the pressure, you're gonna have like 30 PSI. So
That's still good.
let's see, but you still have, you see you have that number. So you calculate 5 PSI for floor. So you have some basement, 5, you have first floor, 10, you have second floor, 15, you have fourth floor, 20. So basically you still have 20 PSI above, which is good. Now, why we have pumps here is because we have too many floors and too many apartments, but there's a difference between water pressure and volume of water. So that's why we have some pumps, because we need more pressure and we need more
I think
volume.
anything over a certain number of stories has to have a fire pump to push that up there. We got into backflow preventers. Does anybody know what a backflow preventer does?
Prevent back.
There's the water from going back in the system.
That's all it's for. So it's basically like a check valve. Water comes in, but it can't go back. Those have to be certified every year. So we probably have, I would guess, about 4 or 5 of them here.
Is it mechanical?
It is mechanical. So they have to, what they have to do is they have to put pressure gauge on the incoming and a pressure gauge on the outgoing, and they have to measure the difference in pressure. You have certain tolerance, but the city of Cleveland, anybody that has a lawn sprinkler system has a backflow. It has to be tested every year and certified every year by a certified plumber.
So, just real quick, so like if you got like a sprinkler system at your house, do you got a drain and stuff like that too?
Well, in the wintertime, yes. You have to, so what you have to do is hook a compressor up to it and blow all the water out and then turn it off for the year. Otherwise, you're gonna have a lot of broken pipes. But yeah, on a sprinkler system, the backflow actually sits right on top of the sprinkler outlet. But those the city of, like the city of North Ridgeville, you have to, if you don't, they'll take you to court.
I'm very bad right
And also, like, they're at Leader this morning, Leader Building, they got a notice from the city that they're gonna shut the water off if we don't get them tested, so.
That's your real job.
The
like
sprinkler
that,
system?
stuff like that.
The backflows.
Backflows.
It looks like,
The
I'll
sprinkler
try.
system I'm talking about is a lawn sprinkler
Right,
system,
okay.
but your sprinkler system here also has backflows, because they don't want that water that's in your building going back into the city water. And that's exactly what it's for, is to
Gotcha.
prevent it from going backwards.
Gotcha.
That's pretending,
I
but
mean,
it is.
it's backflow
It's
prevention.
about to prevent it, so basically, you're gonna have, I service those myself. When you open one of those, you have a big flapper here and a big flapper here with a screen. And then you have a service port over here that will, when you close the valve that you have here, there's a valve here, there's a valve here. So when you close that valve, you just press the water here, and then you open it, you're gonna see like a big round thing with a big spring. Majority of the time, what they do, they just service those springs, because those springs is what can create the pressure to push it down. So what he's explaining to you is, you got water going here, so when you're not using the water, this flapper goes here. Then when you have to start using water here, this one goes up. And then when the job of this is like when you don't have too many uses, this plate is gonna get more pressure, then it's gonna close this one, so it prevents the water
Never
from
had both of them open?
Hmm?
You never had both of them open?
Which, no, those, you don't
Okay,
touch it.
once you close that valve, then
Oh,
you
no, that
open
one is just to service it, that's it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, so
Mhm.
once you close that, now no water is flowing to it,
No,
so then
yeah.
you can open it and do what you
And
need
do the
to do.
service,
Okay,
correct.
that's what I
It's
was.
on a
Correct,
usage
correct. But
basis.
majority-
When you use it, the flapper goes up. When you stop using it, the flapper goes down.
Correct.
So
Something like the toilet.
So the
Yeah, oh, yeah.
parts that open and close it is what you service?
Correct.
Gotcha.
Yeah, they do have to rebuild them every 8 to 10 years, but that's why we do the testing on it.
Right.
They'll let us know if the pressures are off, okay, you need to have a rebuild kit, and they come out and do it.
Yeah.
Problem with servicing, as you guys know, is, you know, your backflows, you have to turn the water off
Yeah.
to the whole building. But I don't know if you guys remember in your pump room, you had 2 valves up, 2 valves down. You had this big contraption in the middle, those are your backflows. So they always have a valve before and a valve after, so you can service that backflow.
That's for the city water or both?
That's for city water,
Okay.
and it's also for the sprinkler system.
I
too.
don't know here, but New York City,
We're not in New York City.
if this is your backflow, you have an extra pipe over here. So when you're gonna service the backflow, you
By the way,
open these
we don't
valves,
service them,
you
we're not
open these
allowed to.
valves, and that's what you call a bypass.
Gotta be a certified plumber.
Yeah,
So what let the.
Oh, that bypass,
Bypass.
shut one side off, open the other side up?
Yeah, so,
Okay, so you have water coming here, right?
So we do have a
what you do
bypass.
is, you shut this valve, open this one, shut this one, and open that one.
yeah.
So the water, instead of going here, the water goes over here.
Yeah, so I was mistaken, so you do have 2 on your domestic. You guys go down there and look at it, but you have 2 up, 2 down. So you can isolate the top one, still have water going into the city and be able to service that backflow.
Oh, we have a bypass here?
Yeah.
Oh.
And the same with the sprinkler system. I'm not sure, I gotta find out where the backflow is on it, but we do have a bypass on our sprinkler system too, which you can service the fire pump and still have water flowing to the floors. Now, city pressure only goes up so high, so that's what that fire pump is for, but we can still have it available if we need it, so. Yeah, there's usually a bypass on everything, that way, if you do have to service it, you're not
So that's
shutting
just
down.
like without shutting all the water down for the right building.
Right.
Gotcha.
Anybody wanna go upstairs and look at one of these?
I do.
We'll go real quick.
I do. It
Yo.
makes sense. That's what you explained to me.
Take a field trip, learn
Yeah, it's
something
easier to see it.
about this big ass building.
And reset the whole system, pressurize it, make sure that everything is good. The biggest thing is if you get a call for the parking garage and water coming out of the pipes, is these 2 valves here. That's,
2 valves. 2 valves.
The switch for the compressor.
that is the only way you're gonna stop water from coming to this level.
Same side, same.
Every level of this garage has 2 of these. So, not very hard to find out if you got water coming on this level, these 2 will stop it.
And then if you guys see the valve over here, when it's like that, this thing is tight, it's open. When
Oh.
it's all the way in, that means the valve is closed.
So this is called an OS and Y valve. It's an outside stem and yoke. So
What's
the
that?
stem is visible.
Mm-hmm.
These here
Viene frío.
are your gate valves. It's not visible, but it's a gate that opens and closes. You know what the ball valves are. So these are just the different terms that they have. Most of the sprinkler systems have those OS and Y valves, which is why you'll see them on a report every once in a while.
Yo tengo
So
hipertiroides.
turn it one way,
No te.
make sure it stops flowing, and basically, if you can do that, you can leave it. And then we'll open up this, and we'll drain down everything we can. The problem that we have when it's freezing temperatures is you probably have ice in the system somewhere, but we'll drain what we can, and then we'll call up the sprinkler company and have them come out and make the repair. But in an emergency, these are your two most important things to do, is these two valves. Once you close those valves, your compressor will continue to run, because you have an open line, so it's rushing air through there. The switch for it is on each level is right here. That'll turn it off. We definitely want to make sure that turns off so it doesn't run constantly.
Switches. Oh, okay, switch on.
Yeah. The other way to do it is to close these valves. So coming right off of your compressor, it goes up here. You got this valve and then this valve and this valve. You can also make sure those are closed if you want to. If you close those valves, your compressor will instantaneously pressurize because the air is only going to here. So it'll turn off and not run. But the easy way to do it is to turn the switch off. So, yeah, but if any one of these sprinkler heads gets hit, boom, air will rush through, open up the flapper, the water will then
shut out.
Yeah, the water will then start pouring out. So, we had, I think on 4,